Hey everyone, welcome today to our show. It's our first show in March, isn't it?
Right? I don't know. Is it March?
Yes. Oh, thanks for joining us. March 7th. Beautiful day outside, a little warm, but we were all begging for that warm weather to come back. So we are happy here. And today's going to be a great show. We've got a friend, Douglas Smith from Smith Mortgage, coming on. He's a Tampa-based mortgage lender that we know, broker that we know. I'm probably using the wrong words. He'll fix that. He'll come on. But we're excited to talk to him about the Tampa market, what he's seeing as a lender, and any questions you have about your loans or what you've experienced are great questions for him. So I'll be monitoring those since he'll be on. He's actually coming on live from Tampa. So our very first Zoom live podcast. So we're excited. But obviously right now, Kristen Rabell,
Rebecca Johnson.
We're going to do that Monday market moment.
All right, welcome back. Let's take a look at what's happening in North Central Florida. We'll start in Gainesville. So far for the month of March, you have 69 active listings, 97 pended. We're happy to be a part of that number. We were part of the active, but they've already got under contract. And then 72 closed so far for the month of March. And we're only what date is it? Well, I don't know. March
7 days in.
7 days in. There you go. Oh, no, wait. This is our second podcast for March, isn't it?
Yeah.
So there we go.
I think we gave the numbers of February last time. So that's why I was a little off on that.
There you go. And down in Tampa, we have 198 active, which seems low for 7 days. Yeah. 278 pending and 185 closed. Let's see. And then up in Ocala and Marion County, we have 115 active so far for the month of March, 146 pending and 86 closed. I do feel like the numbers are getting a little lower. I know we're only 7 days in, but it does seem like we're looking for inventory still. And then up in the St. Augustine area, which, remember, the numbers are calculated slightly different. This is a total number, not just the month of March, but there are 31 active currently, 11 pended, and 8 closed for the month of March in the closed category. So a little smaller area, and that is a little more of a seasonal market, right. I would say. Mm-hmm. And as that warmer weather's coming on, it's definitely drawing the listings out. But the other areas, we're looking for listings. So if you have anybody that's looking to sell down there, let us know. Have them call the office. We'd be delighted to assist them with getting their property on the market. So that's a quick look at your March numbers.
Your 7-day March numbers. Yeah, they do look low, but I didn't do the numbers, so I wasn't able to check them, but I bet you next week they're going to grow exponentially, because now is when we get into the normal spring market, where we'll hopefully see more inventory on the market. And yes, it will probably pin quickly like it was before, but at least we'll see more inventory on the market and be able to sell it. So if you have a listing that you'd like to sell, call us. We'd love to list it and market it for you and get it sold quickly in all of these markets. All right. All right. Well, let's bring on our friend Douglas Smith. Dougie Fresh. Hey, you want to introduce yourself, to give a little bit about Smith Lending? I called it Smith Mortgage. So Smith Lending. Sorry about that. Tell us a little bit about, how long you've been in the business and about your company.
Cool. Thank you so much for having me. This is super cool. I love the intro, and everything is very, very professional. Best I've seen.
So my name's Elio for that, just so you know.
What did you say?
Thank Elio for that.
Yeah, this guy's the man.
Yeah.
So Douglas Smith, I own Smith Lending, which is a brokerage. So I know you had mentioned
there you go.
kind of which financing avenue there. Really, kind of all loans are the same, but the way I get loans is through different lenders. I don't work for one lender specifically. So we get that money from, it could be like Rocket Mortgage, or it could be something super small that folks never heard of before. But essentially, that's what I do. I originate loans, and been doing it for about 10 years now in Tampa. And I think I have a pretty good understanding of the market. I've got my strong opinions on what's happening, and would love to share them and be an open book for you guys and give my 2 cents on what's going on.
All right. Well, we're here in Gainesville mostly. We do have that office down in Tampa, but you work primarily in Tampa, probably other areas around, probably all of Florida as well. But what are you seeing in the market down there?
I loved your intro, by the way, going over the numbers, because I agree with you that at least I'm kind of seeing the numbers be a little bit lower than normal, which is interesting because as you were saying that, I'm like, man, I feel super busy. I feel like I'm doing stuff all the time, working all the time, but the numbers don't lie, as Rihanna says. And
love it.
How can I have like 26, 30 people that are pre-approved? It's just the lack of inventory. So that's kind of what we're seeing. All morning, I've been on the phone begging listing agents to accept our offers. Appraisals are kind of all over the board. That's a 2-hour conversation. That's pretty much it. That's pretty much the market. Low inventory, appraisals are crazy. Rates are going up. I think rates are kind of like a nationwide thing. And I don't know if they mirror it, but I drive a diesel truck.
Me too.
$3.65 a gallon. And then I just filled up yesterday or the day before. It was like $4.45 a gallon. And I'm like, so we can't afford gas and we can't afford homes. No, I'm just kidding. But
I mean, eggs are like $7, so.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about interest rates. I mean, what are you allowed to say within reason, or what are you feeling we're going to see over the next year? Because of course, everybody was thinking that they were going to go up. Probably between a quarter to a half a point, but I think they're thinking they're going to back down on that slightly with the current climate. And with
so I can just give you my perspective. I've always been a super conservative fella when it comes to interest rates. Back when they were, like 3 or 4 years ago, I remember being at a closing and the rate for a conventional loan was like 4.875. And I'm thinking like, that's a good rate. And then all of a sudden, just out of nowhere, they fall off the map and they're at like 2.5%. So right now, just like the average conventional 30-year rate, is high threes. I think last week it was all the way up to 4, but since the first of the year, I do a weekly rate update, right? And so since like the start of COVID, it was like 2.5, 2.875, somewhere in that realm. Every week, kind of the same. And then as soon as 2022 hits, it's like bing, 3.5. And then the next week it's like 3.625. And then it's like every single week it's just inching up. I don't know if I've sent one out that was like 4.125, but I'll tell you for the past couple weeks, it's been 3.875. Like today is just, I think got sent out while we're on this podcast, but it got sent out at 3.875 today. So personally, I think rates will go up.
Kristen, I think they don't have a choice.
They don't have a choice.
I think you mentioned like how rates are going up and they're higher than what they've been pretty substantially from what they've been. But over the big haul, they're like, they're super low. Like they're still super low.
It's all relative. It's all historical, right? Like we were talking earlier, and we've said this a million times on this podcast. When we started in 2006, rates were the lowest they've ever been, and at the 6s and 7s. And, they've dropped exponentially since then, and now they're inching back up. But really, how does that affect buyers?
Well, it's going to limit that buyer pool, right? And it's going to really affect that affordability. So I don't know what it's like in y'all's market, but in our market, prices are, they're up. Like I remember 4 or 5 years ago, you could get a house like in Seminole Heights, which is like this little cute neighborhood in Tampa.
Little neighborhood we love, right?
Yeah, like $250 or something. And now, like if you're $350, it's like, I don't know how much I can say and not say, by the way.
Sure.
So I just say whatever. But in my eyes, from what I see with my pre-approved buyers and what they're offering on, if you're $350, it's going to be tough to get something accepted there. So
you've got to be almost to 4 in Seminole Heights now.
Yeah. But even with rates going up, right? Like not only are prices an extra $50,000, but now rates are 0.5% higher. So there's another $50,000 in buying power. And it's really limiting that buyer pool. So folks that are in that smaller range, as rates go up, they're just having to look further and further outside of Tampa or I don't know what they're going to do.
Yeah. So anybody who wants to live in Seminole Heights has to buy, almost twice as much as they were before, and at a higher rate. And so now you're saying you're going to have to buy outside of these great Tampa areas in, the other counties that comprise of Tampa or these other locations. And Rebecca knows a lot more about the Tampa locations than I do, having been being from there. But that's what you're seeing, is that these buyers are going outside more often, because we're seeing that in Gainesville too.
Oh yeah,
I would say.
But it's kind of it's a difficult conversation, and I feel like everybody's going to have to educate everybody, because I remember when so what was it, in 2007 and 8, we earned really 8, 9, and 10, we were having to educate sellers. Yes, your house was worth this, but now it's worth this. Right. It's kind of the reverse for buyers right now. Yes, totally. I understand you could have bought that house for $50,000 cheaper last year, but this year this is the price, and they think they're overpaying, but they're really not. And I kind of am wondering, where are we going to see the top? Because everybody that I talk to does not expect the price of homes to go down,
lower, right?
Because of the amount of people and the shortage that we have. So they're building, as quick as they can. I mean, it is a process, and you need materials. There's material shortages. So you have people building, but I'm just like, how do they catch up with it? Because the prices will continue to increase as long as there's a demand for somebody to be in there, and you have people coming from all over the country. Right. Buying or paying cash or doing gap addendums or whatever it takes to get the property. Yes, we've had people up here pay $100,000 more. I know it's way more common in Tampa. Right. So it's like, where does it end? I don't know.
And then we've got a question on here, which I kind of asked you before, but I'd love you to answer it live. But on a house that is less than 15 years old with little to no wood rot, why would an FHA loan be any worse than conventional? What's the
Preach. Whoever said that should get an award.
Stop that. Don't do that, Susan Hicks.
Susan has asked this, yes.
That was a great point, because this is what the conversation I'm having with folks, or like listing agents and sellers all the time, is that if you know what you're getting into with FHA or VA for that matter, I would love to throw a VA in here too. There's really no reason that you wouldn't accept an FHA or a VA offer. The only caveat would be, again, I don't know what I can and can't say on your show.
So no, you can say anything on our show. You're fine.
We're not worried.
So the only thing is that, in my perspective, right, from a seller or a listing agent's perspective, if they see that FHA offer, they're thinking, well, what if we do have that appraisal gap coverage, right? Because maybe with FHA, they couldn't qualify for conventional for some reason. So there might be lacking of funds there in case we have that appraisal gap. But from a property perspective, from that home perspective, there really is no reason. If you walk in the house and it looks nice, and you're like, this is a nice house, I live here. There's no problem.
So really the question is, there's little to no wood rot. The sellers have already fixed the wood rot they knew of, right? And then there's no cracked windows. It is a 15-year-old house, meaning roof and HVAC system. So appraisers with FHA and VA are a little stricter, but they're really not going to pick anything up per se that you know of that is going to affect it, unless there are these items on the house, correct? I mean, I think that's what she's asking.
Knocking on wood, because it's our listing, so of course
granted, the gap addendum is already there. So they were approved conventional at first, pre-approved conventional first. They have the cash. It's flipping them over to FHA, so they have more cash in their pocket. So if it, for some reason, does not appraise, which I don't really foresee that, because I priced it within the realm of the appraisal value. And this right now, what I'm noticing, not to go off onto another caveat, but in certain neighborhoods, you have prices that are $50,000 to $75,000 difference for the same house, literally the same house. So, if you're pricing it as a listing agent right in between those numbers, you're bound to have higher prices. So as long as you're getting the gap addendum, just in case there's a discrepancy in the appraisal, you should be good to go, because you didn't price it at the top and then got top prices. You priced it in the middle and got top prices. So you're still within the realm of the appraisal. That's where we are right now. It's just now they are saying, well, if I do have to come up with a difference, or I have to replace that roof in a few years, I want more money in my pocket. So I need to go FHA. And now it's convincing the sellers who chose conventional loan, right? Higher price. They liked the letter from the buyer. They liked a couple things about the buyer, but it was really conventional, made them feel special, made them feel better. Now we've got to renegotiate as an FHA. Is that a bad thing? If we know there's no wood rot that we know of, there's really no cracked windows, and all we know is that the roof is 15 years old.
Yeah, as long as everything else is okay, all the electrical's fine, all the switches work. Like if you were to walk through the house, and you don't find anything wrong, I think you're golden. Okay. And I do have clients like that. I pre-approved a client this morning who's pre-approved conventional and pre-approved FHA. Just depending on their specifics, it may make more sense to go FHA. It keeps more money in their pocket and it's less per month.
Right.
So
yeah. There was a better rate for this person as well, this buyer as well. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, there you go.
Good questions, Susan. Post your questions. We'll get to them. We're going through them.
Yeah, that's so far the only question we have. But that was a great answer. Thank you so much. Actually, let's take our break. We're going to take a little break here. You'll see a great video on Tampa, and then we'll come back. All right.
The city of Tampa along the southern Gulf Coast of Florida is home to some neighborhood gems. Come along as we explore a few pockets of the city. South Tampa offers a mix of historic neighborhoods, modern influences, and is bubbling with restaurants, shopping, and nightlife. Many find it a desirable location as it houses Bayshore Boulevard, the longest continuous sidewalk in the world, with no shortages of boutiques or beautiful scenic backdrops of Tampa Bay. Outdoor recreational spaces are a big draw to this community for dog lovers and parents alike. If you're looking for a contender for the best neighborhood in America, look no further than Seminole Heights, which was awarded this ranking in the early 2000s and has continued to become more desirable. It has experienced somewhat of a renaissance of rising property values, plentiful offerings of trendy restaurants, and new businesses occupying many of the neighborhood's historic buildings. To experience a real sense of community, you will want to check out the Armature Works area just north of downtown Tampa on the river. The old warehouse that serves as a maintenance barn for streetcars and trolleys in a previous life has been given a dramatic makeover and now operates as a historic mixed-use building. Whether you are looking for an event space, public market, co-working locations, a rooftop cocktail to take in the views, or innovative eateries, Armature Works is a spot to check out. If you find yourself in the area, be sure to stop by the Rabell Realty Group Tampa office, which is conveniently located 2 minutes around the block from the Glazers Children's Museum, the Tampa Museum of Art, and the Florida Museum of Photographic Art. Our on-site agents know the neighborhood amenities that matter most. Check out buysellrebell.com to find your Tampa Bay home.
Sorry. We're here whispering as we watch the Tampa video that we had Short Media create for us. Hopefully you all love that. We've played it before, but we figured it was appropriate for Douglas being on today. So we'll bring Douglas back on. I want to know what he thought about our video. Were you able to watch it? I don't know if you can hear it because we can't hear it. But
I could see it though. It was great. I love my city.
Yeah, your city is really fun. We were actually there this weekend.
Yes, it was fabulous.
For a concert, yeah. So beautiful. Eric Church. Yep. Nice. Beautiful city, beautiful weather this weekend, incredible.
It's getting like cooler. You know what I mean? Like I used to live in Channelside, and back when I moved into Channelside, I remember it was the first Sunday morning I opened up my balcony and I walked out to experience this. I don't know what I was expecting. But it was not cool. But this is like years back. Right now, right. I drive through there and there's all kind of stuff to do in Tampa and Channelside. And I'm like, man, this is
Channelside was before its time, and now it's Sparkman's Wharf, right?
Sparkman's Wharf now. Yeah.
So I'll never call it that. It'll always be Channelside.
It'll always be
to the OGs.
Okay.
Yeah, but the great thing about being at least in the Tampa Bay area is that you're super close to so much beautiful, waterways, so many beautiful waterways. And then, like you said, there's a lot to do, but then you're near Clearwater, Indian Rocks Beach, St. Pete, so I know that if we whenever we go down there, it's like so many things that you can go see and do. And it's a pretty incredible place.
It's crazy. Like it's really cool to be driving down like 60 or something and just because for me, like I go to my closings, right? So it'll be like a Tuesday at like 2:00 and I'm driving to the beach for a closing.
Yeah, there you go.
Is this real life?
Wait, I do have to say that we passed by that Dr. Patel's house, the compound off of, what is that, Dale Mabry, that he's still building like 20 years later, it seems.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
that place is crazy. Do you know what I'm talking about? Mm-mm. Dr. Patel, I guess he gives a ton of money. He's a philanthropist in Tampa. So he gives a lot of money back to Tampa. Mm-hmm. But he has this, I don't know how many acres. Do you know how many acres, Douglas?
It's a compound.
Yeah. And he's building his house and houses for his children and houses for his grandchildren to all live there. And he's been building it for, I said 20 years, but it's probably like 12 years now. But it looks like an Indian palace. It's based off of an Indian building in the city where he's from. I don't know which it is. I looked it up, but
I try not to go down Dale or that far north on Dale Mabry.
Well, you told me I'm like, to go down there, so that's when we saw it.
You were looking for food. I'm like, otherwise, once I get to Raymond James, I'm like, it's that way to the mall or that way back home.
Right.
So.
But yeah, that place is massive. It's crazy.
No, it's cool. And there's always fun stuff going on. It was last weekend. We went to the Taco Festival, which was right by Raymond James that you were talking about. So they had a bunch of tacos out there. And then we were there for a couple hours and we were like, all right, well, time to go to the next thing. And there was a fiesta going down in Ybor. So we went to Ybor and all of 7th was like shut down. So we walked around there for a little bit. It's just like, there's always stuff to do. It's pretty cool.
There's always something to do.
Yeah, my sister lives there who's from Gainesville, and she's like, oh my gosh, you got to move to Tampa. It's never boring. It's always exciting here. So yeah, I can see why people love to stay and people are moving there. It is the number one city that people are moving to. Did you know that?
No, I didn't. Sometimes folks send me like articles and stuff like that. And I see like, typically we're in the top 5 for like whatever the statistic is.
Yeah. Almost everything I've read this year and last year, end of last year, was that Tampa is the number one place people are moving to, the number one city in Florida, the number one city in the South, the number one city in the country. So Tampa's getting a lot of really great, rankings right now.
I think so. And like to go back, one of y'all mentioned like, where is this cap going to be? Or like, where are we going to hit this like high point? And I want to know that too. And I think it's going to be really interesting to see because like more and more people want to keep moving here because of, beauty, so many different reasons. And it'll be interesting to see, like, I feel like, again, I don't want to get sure on your show, but I feel like we used to be the armpit of the States.
We were. I'm totally with you. When I think it changed, right?
No, what?
So Tampa made a bid for the Olympics and they went through a beautification process and they raised a ton of money and they did a ton of work. I'll be honest, I think I'm significantly older than you, Douglas. I don't know. But I remember when you didn't go to Ybor because it was extremely unsafe really and you definitely weren't living in Seminole Heights. Right. It was not what it is today. So I moved from Tampa in 2001. 2004. I moved in 2004. I went to school in 2001. But I lived there my whole life. And I remember when University Mall was like the most amazing mall that we had. So that's how old I am. Yeah, that's how old I am.
Oh my goodness.
And here it is. I'm older than Rebecca. Okay. So significantly older than you.
Yeah, not that much older than me.
And when I went to go to college from here, I did not want to stay in Gainesville. Yes, go Gators, whatever. But I was done with Gainesville. And I looked and I wanted to stay in Florida. And I went down to South Florida to Tampa. And I went, what is this rickety, like night school, horrible place? There's no way I will go here. And now I'm like, well, shoot, I wonder if Mason wants to go to USF because that's kind of a pretty cool school now. And it's got a life and it's got a personality and so many beautiful things to do. So you guys, it really is true. And you're probably right about the bid, which they lost. Right.
They lost it, but the money had already been spent. It's a huge process to get the Olympics, and it basically they started the beautification several years in advance before the people came. Whoever this is, I don't watch the Olympics. I know I'm a terrible person, but I just don't like sports and don't care. So
you can't say that in Tampa, by the way. We're Champa Bay over here.
I know. That's true. I do enjoy going. Like I've been to some Bucks games. That's a lot of fun. I've never been to a hockey game.
I want to go to a hockey game so bad.
If there's one thing we take away from this call, have to go.
I'll think about it as long as they have like beer or something to do on there.
The energy in the place, like you're going to be a convert. You're going to walk out like full.
Oh no,
lightning,
I already
bleeding
daydream
blue.
of living back there. There's so many things that I miss about it. But there's things that I love about Gainesville. So I do miss that water aspect. But Tampa to me, like when I go, I still am wrapping my mind around it because I'm like, man, even when I was in school, you didn't walk around downtown Tampa by yourself. But now I'm like, I'm not scared. It doesn't bother me. There's parks everywhere. There's families down there. So I'll even call my mom and my sister and I'll be like, this is so bizarre to me. Like, it's totally like a cool place to live.
It's a completely different place to live now. So, and to visit.
I'm all about it. So,
Yeah.
But
they did a good job.
Cool.
No wonder everybody's moving there.
I love how this was about like the market and,
right.
and mortgages.
Affordability.
But mostly just became about how amazing the city is. So
I was gonna bring it full circle for us here, right? So we're talking about how amazing the city is, and it's all the areas, right? So, like we literally, we just ventured. We like to go because like now everything's cool, right? So you like to go adventure and see what's going on. So we ventured out to the seafood festival out in Safety Harbor, which is kind of like a little bit to the west here, and that's its own little niche place, right? It's super cute. I had a client of mine. Well, this is live, so you can't edit this out. So I hope I can share all this. But I had a client of mine buy a house in Safety Harbor for, I think it was like $650,000, right? And it was an investment property for him. He bought it for $650,000. His payment was like $3,500 a month or something like that. And I'm talking to him today. He just rented it out for $6,000 a month.
Wow!
For 12 months.
That's incredible.
So not only is it a really cool city, but it's still a really good investment. So if anybody wants to buy an investment property in Tampa, call me 813-767-4247.
I'll call you after the show.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, that's what's happening is that people are going and investing in Tampa because I mean, there's, short-term rentals and the rentals down there are insanely, they're priced right for the travel that you want to do. I mean, I know a ton of people are wanting to come and just visit, Florida in general, but Tampa Bay area. And if you've got these areas that you're talking about, and then I know St. Pete is like huge right now. And, again, Indian Rock Beach, all of these, Treasure Island, that's in the area as well, And I mean, I know we were looking for a place and I couldn't find anything because they were gone immediately. And some of them were priced really high, but I can see people, they were grabbing them.
Yeah, you did ask me that question before the show started. You were like, are your clients here looking to buy here? Are they moving from out? A lot of people here looking to buy here that work here, sheriffs and teachers and things like that. But I will tell you that as we're talking about this, I can think of 4 or 5 buyers that are out of state using 1031 exchange to come here and buy.
Wow.
So a couple in California, one dude up in like Michigan. They're kind of,
but they're buying their investment properties with the 1031, not their homes. So so these people in the that are already in the area, they're competing with these cash buyers using 1031, or I guess they're not cash buyers if you're working with them. So they are using loans, but they're buying investment property. So
I think Tampa was just set up a couple of years ago, or not a couple of years ago. I guess it was really probably 20 years ago, 15 or 20 years ago, to really become what it is today. And I think it's incredible because they didn't know what the market was going to bring, or that COVID was going to bring people working from home and being able to live anywhere. So to me, it's just fascinating to see that this armpit city. Sorry, that's the term you used, but I loved it. I grew up there. I mean, I loved it, but I couldn't wait to move away. But there was nothing to do there back then. So thank you, Tampa, for turning that around. But they took this like little city. I know. They waited for me to leave. They turned it around and made it like the #1 spot to move to. And it was poised all along, if you think about it, because it's got the ports, it's got waterways, it's got an international airport, it's got a bunch of smaller airports. So you've got money and you've got regular people living there, and it was just kind of set up.
I think Orlando really wanted to be what Tampa is now, but Orlando, right? Orlando.
Oh,
Sorry, we don't service Orlando, so I don't feel bad saying it.
I mean, as a parent of a kid who loved Disney and loves Universal, that's a great place to go to visit those, but that's all you want to do there. It does not have the same appeal as Tampa. And I don't know where that new Tampa means, because you both were like, uh-oh.
That means it's the new armpit.
The new armpit. Yep. It's been an armpit for a long time,
though. Because New
Tampa's great. That's where, my parents still live up in that area. But no, I was saying Orlando is the new armpit.
Yeah. It's been an armpit the whole time, though. So
maybe they'll turn it around. Disney will just buy it up and they'll paint everything. What is it, like Go Away Green or whatever?
Go Away Green. That's so funny. Just Disney it all out.
Yeah, it's just Disney out Orlando. Because when I drive through there,
they probably need to do that.
Yeah, I'm like, you got money, just take over the whole city and do what you do. So.
So we talked about a couple things. We're probably going to have to wrap it up, but a realtor recently wrote, and this is kind of go back to a conversation we had before, PSA to buyers, it doesn't matter what they bought it for. And I know we were kind of talking about that before. I mean, and now with the prices rising so much, you can't even look back to see what people bought it for because they bought it for so much cheaper than you're going to buy now.
It'll just make you sick.
Sorry. I would say that and I'm not a real estate agent, but this is what I tell all my buyers.
Right.
Is that the list price is the starting price. Right. Okay. And value is what someone's willing to pay for that home.
Right.
So if a home is priced at $300,000, that's where the sellers want to start. And you have to think in your mind, is this home worth $300,000 to me, or is it worth $320,000, or is it worth $330,000? Because there's going to be an investor right behind you who's going to be buying it for $315,000 cash. Exactly. So that is value.
There you go. Yep. That's value. So awesome. Yep. That's what I would say. We've got a couple of other things. But we'd love to have you back on. This was fun. This was great. Hopefully you liked it and you'd be willing to come back on another time. But we are running behind with our 30-minute live, Facebook and YouTube podcast. But we thank you so much for coming on here. This has been fun. I've been wanting to get somebody on from Tampa, one of our agents, just to do this. But, you already had the setup and everything. So maybe we need to utilize your setup. To get some of these agents in to talk with us, because you've got it.
I have room here for somebody. We can just
there we go.
I love it.
We'll get Lisa in and talk with you about, how great Tampa is and get you some more buyers over there. I know I'm looking. So
cool. Thanks so much for having me. This was great. Yeah, definitely. Come on anytime. I have a bunch of opinions, and I like to hear myself
we
talk.
Love it.
So it's wonderful.
We love it. Perfect.
And then say your number again, but not as fast. We don't have a picture up there of it. I'm sure maybe Elio can get one, but we will definitely post it afterwards when we reshare this. But go ahead and say your number again, or the best way to get in touch with you.
The best way to get in touch with me is 813-767-4247. And you can also email me. And it's a very tricky email address. It's Douglas@SmithLending.com.
And that is with one S, right? Not two S's?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we have the two S's up here. Sorry about that, but that's just probably me spelling it wrong.
Also,
the first
I noticed the colors are blue and orange. I think next time maybe like a garnet and gold. Just kidding.
You went there. That's all right. So did I.
I had to throw it out there.
Yeah, you both went there. I'm like,
yeah, but I came back to Gainesville and got back into the Gators. So, hey, we get it. All of Florida's good to me. Cool. All right, Douglas, thank you. We'll see you next time, hopefully. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, ladies.
Thank you.
All right. And if you have a property in North Central Florida that needs management, we would be delighted to help you. Be the leasing agent, accountant, repair person, inspector, landlord, you name it. 352-213-6410.
All right. And if you're looking to get into real estate or join a team or change from one company to another in Tampa, St. Augustine, Gainesville, Ocala, join our team. You can email us at join@buysellrebell.com. You don't have to join the team, or you can, or call us at 352-559-8820.
And if you're looking to connect with us, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Google+.
Good job.
Like and
subscribe. Thank you for joining us on YouTube if you're there. And also, did you know we have a blog? We do, and we'll talk about Tampa probably on the next blog and how great it is, and maybe Douglas will help us come up with the top 10 things to do in Tampa, although there's probably like 50 things to do in Tampa. Anyways, you can find our blog on our website at buysellrebell.com/blog.
And we want to thank the Fiesta Media for putting on this fabulous remote podcast and all the others they do for us. They, too, can help you have your own podcast. Call them today at 352-327-5089.
Thank you, Fiesta Media. And join us next week. We're on every single Monday at 2. So you can find us here on Facebook Live or here on YouTube, RebellPodcast.com, the Kristen and Rebecca Rabell Realty Group podcast. Thank you for joining us. We hope to see you next week.